What's up, everybody? I got a question to ask you. How do we, as Black men, bridge the gap with our sisters? Well, if you want to know the answer, I need y'all to stick around and find out. But for now, enjoy this. Y'all know about that right there, huh? Some little smooth out stuff right there for y'all, you know? What's happening? What's happening? And what's happening? Welcome to the check-in, the show where we talk about everything mental health from a male's point of view, but we also talk about other things as well. I am your host, Mr. Frederick Beatty. Thank you so very much for tuning in tonight on a Monday night. I hope your weekend was wonderful, and I hope your Monday was wonderful. And I hope that you tuned in this morning to Power Hour with my sis LHG, and she had a powerful guest on this morning. So if you guys did not catch that, please catch the replay because man, oh man, oh man, telling y'all right now. Now, before we jump into all this good stuff, man, let me bring up my folks, man, my peoples, my tag team partners, and the people that we're gonna have this great conversation about. So first up, so let me just bring up my sis LHG. Let me bring up my boy T Wade, and let me bring up my sis Miss J. Yo,
We the
people,
people. We
we the
is the
people,
people.
we the people, we is the peoples. So
Real peoples.
that's it. That's man. Look, but this is the 4-man tag team right here, the undefeated tag team, man, right here.
Wait, heavyweight.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Everything and all of that. But look, y'all. This so first and foremost, I want to first and say I want to thank Miss J for having me on last night for her
Yeah.
conversation on shaking up the algorithms. Good gracious. That was
Yes,
heavy, that was deep.
it was. It was heavy.
And woo, yeah.
Shake it up. Shake it up.
So if you guys did not catch the replay of that show, man, make sure you guys catch the replay of that show because yeah, it was crazy. It was deep and but it was also very informative. But now, now let's shift a little bit. Um, so for the last few weeks and things like that, I've talked about value and values. So we talked about the value of a man. We talked about a man's values. We talked about how we as men should bridge this gap between our children. We've also talked about, you know, other things as that as well. One of the other things I think that is very important that we should do as men is to try to bridge the gap with our women.
We. Mm,
However, comma, that gap gets wider and wider.
my lord.
There are reasons for that, and we'll dive into those reasons here and we'll dive into those reasons here in a bit. But I want to preface this conversation with this one thing: is that in order for us, and I said this last night, in order for us to even have a sense of something that's this thing called community,
Mm,
we have to bridge the gap between each other.
mm-hmm.
We got to do this in not only in romantic relationships but also in interpersonal relationships because good grief, all I can say is that when we don't do that, we destroy our community is destroyed, and but we also destroy each other by not wanting to do that. However, like I said, the gap between us as black men and black women is bigger than the Grand Canyon
Whew. Mm, my
and
lord.
deeper than the Mariana Trench.
Wherever that is, that sounds deep though.
It's very deep. It's very deep.
I don't know where it is, but it sounds deep.
Mm.
So the one thing I want us to start to I want us one thing I want us to talk about is this. And I'm going to talk about this from a build destroy concept.
Mm,
So I think everybody knows what the Webster's dictionary definition of build means. It's just to create with one's own two hands, or create something, whether it's building a house, whether it's building a relationship, whether it's building anything.
mm-hmm.
And I think we all know what destroy means:
My
to
lord.
to tear down, to wreck, to rend asunder. I think we all know what that is. So I'm going to talk about this from a build destroy concept, and we're going to start with the building. We're going to start with the building part first because I think that's important. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to present to you guys. I'm going to present a question to you guys.
All right.
How can we, as black men, and I'm going to start with the ladies first, and then me and Timmy, and then me and Mr. Wado we'll jump in. But ladies, how can we as black men build with you as black men? Now, don't everybody answer it all at once now.
Okay, I'll start. Uh, and one of the main things that I can think of is one, as women, we're able to multitask, right?
Oh,
We can handle and juggle so many things at once, but we're not super women.
come on.
And I think a lot of times as men, you all take on the notion that, oh, well, she got it. You got it. You can do it. No. Sometimes we need to know that we have a partner that is going to be there to assist. We don't really want to do it all the time, but we do it because nobody else is going to do it. It's almost like the term when they say, mama's baby, daddy's maybe, right?
Wow.
As the mother, as the matriarch, we take on the responsibility of so much a lot of times because we don't necessarily have a partner to be able to assist. That's one area. Another area is oftentimes we want to be supported. Now, I'm not saying that financially you all don't help or things of that nature. That's fine and good, but sometimes we just want to hear that we're being supported by you. Sometimes the accolades or just the compliments help to deal with some of the stressors that we have as women as well. So to just say, hey, babe, you're doing a good job. We need to hear that sometimes. We need to know that you understand and you respect and honor what we do as women. So, yeah, that's just two of my points. But go ahead, LAC.
I'm gonna start by asking y'all, do you like women? Because I hate to come out the gate like that, but I want to know. You have to understand there are a few brothers out there, in all honesty and seriousness, but I wonder if you have a deep-rooted disdain for women. It could be a mama issue. It could go as deep as you were really hurt, like physically hurt by a woman, sexually hurt, abused by a woman. But I wonder, just by some of the mannerisms that I see, some of the very harsh language, some of the even the body language in some of the podcasts that I've seen and some of the discussions that I've heard, I'm like, it's like in this corner, weighing such and such pounds, a man. And then in this corner, weighing so and so pounds. It's like we are literally in a boxing ring. We gotta decide if we even like each other. And I'm saying that because I want us all to be emotionally intelligent. And if I hear one more person say, we as women are emotional and y'all not, I don't subscribe to that.
Correct.
I believe we all have emotions. I believe God gave us all emotions. We may exhibit them differently. We may show them and put them out there differently, or some of us may feel like, okay, if I show that, I'm going to be labeled as not so masculine. But at the end of the day, we are human. So I guess my first thing would be, if if there is something going on with you, brother, concerning a woman, where you see her as subservient or subservient, whatever the word is, we got to deal with that first. Because if you're dating and you come into it with the following situation, let me tell you right now, I'm not paying your cell phone bill, I'm not taking care of your kids, and I'm not going to pay your water bill. If you come into a dating situation that way, dude, you don't even know me. I don't know what she had you paying and who you been sponsoring. You don't even know me, bro.
Sponsoring.
Give LHG a clean slate before you bring me all the baggage and you penalize me for what she didn't do, had you paying, and didn't bring to the table. Don't bring that animosity over here, and it's not mine. Have a cool down period between relationships. Because sometimes I think we devastate each other with baggage from our previous situationships. Because I want you to know who I am. I want a 100% clean slate. I want you to approach me saying, hi, my name is, I want to get to know you. Don't bring all that extraness to me. Get to know me. Because I have seen in previous experiences this really strong antagonistic spirit that comes into the dating world. Because somebody might have hurt y'all. It's some jacked up chicks out here that have almost ruined some good men. I can say that as a woman, it's some manipulative chicken heads out here.
Correct.
They only want sponsorships.
Correct.
That's all they want. But when you recognize that and you don't want that, leave them alone. Don't keep going back to it. But if you get another person in front of you, at least you owe it to them to give me an A until I deserve an F. I showed up. So give me an A for just showing up. And then if I prove to you I don't deserve that A, you can start taking me down B, C, D. But when you first meet someone, if you come in with the attack, I'm gonna tell you right now, don't ask for Whoa, bro, pump the brakes. I come in peace. Because if you're gonna do community, if that's gonna be the foundation of this, community, conversation, communing, fellowship, and for that to happen, we gotta be willing to listen to each other, get to know each other. So I think my first point would be emotionally intelligent to know that you got emotions too. So whoever taught you that you had to be everything to everyone, couldn't cry, couldn't show any signs of humanity, I'm sorry for whoever taught you that, but it wasn't me. So I would like to say, if you need to talk to somebody about that before you enter into something committed, if you need to, rinse off what has happened, process what has happened or didn't happen. Maybe your mom gave you up and you kind of secretly hold all women responsible for that level of abandonment. I'm not her. I want to build you up. But I can't do that if you overload me with somebody else's baggage. Some baggage we're gonna have. When you start bringing me the 17-piece Spider-Man edition luggage, I can't help with that.
Spider-Man
I
edition.
want us to be on the same side. First of all, if we are going to even have any kind of relationship, whether it's friendly, romantic, employer, whatever it is, it's gotta be on a grounds of I come in peace. So whatever misconceptions you have and you come in with all y'all women, the whole all y'all, nope, we can't do all y'all. Because I am one incredible woman. I'm not every woman. I don't sing that song no more. I'm one woman tonight. One. So give me a chance. Give me a chance. If we're coming into the playing field together and we want to talk and get to know each other, give me a chance to show you who I am, and then you can make an informed decision that I'm not compatible with you, but don't do that based on what somebody else did. If I'm an interviewer for a job and you come in for the interview, and because the last person was so horrible, I say, I don't even want to interview. I'm tired. The last one just made me, just cancel it. Was that fair? No. So what about the previous candidate? They could have been horrible, but you could be the perfect one. And if I don't give you a chance to show me how you shine, I could be missing out. So I'm gonna leave it right there for take me a little sip.
Correct.
She took a sip. You want to hop in this one, or should I, T?
I tend to play for the other team when it comes to men and women. I do tend to agree with women after watching how some men act, and I have to agree with you, LHG. I've watched a few podcasts where these guys are just like, I mean, you coming from, I mean, you might as well categorize yourself as a caveman the way you're talking, and the way you're dealing with the women in your lives. Like it gets ugly. But it takes me every conversation we have takes me back to the communication thing.
Yep.
Now, here's the thing. Like you eloquently put it in the perspective, LHG, when you said, basically don't come that way. Here's the thing. It's not an issue. If they come that way when you're trying to get to that point, you're a couple of days in, you're trying to get to that point where you're trying to communicate and get to know who the other person is, then they're going to show you in them couple of days. If they show you that in them couple of days and you don't want to deal with that, then no harm, no foul, go about your business. There's no issue. There is no issue.
Okay.
If that's what they want, that's their prerogative. They just ain't going to get it where you live. You know what I mean? Because you have standards that you live by. You have feelings. You have things that you perceive to be correct. And if it doesn't jive with what they're bringing the first couple of days and they're coming like that. Now, if you've been in this for a minute, say a month, 2 month, 3 month, year, you're building up, and then all of a sudden they come out the side of their neck like this. That's where what you're talking about comes into play. That's where it's like, okay, this isn't what we signed up for.
Right.
This is what we were supposed to be doing. Like, this is why conversation is so important. Get to know somebody. My wife likes to say that, like, we don't date anymore like that. We don't get to know people before we are like, we run into somebody at the bar, and like my wife says, by the time we leave the bar, we're dating them.
Yeah.
That same night, we're dating them. Like, we don't get a chance, and then we complain 2, 3, 4 months later when they start coming out the side of their neck, and you're like, well, I'll give him a chance. Maybe he's just had a hard day and everything. Like, he's showing you where he's at. He's showing you where he's at already. So if you have the conversation in the first couple of days, get to know, because they like to say men know. When we get with a woman, when we meet a woman, we know within, how long is it, Fred? We know within a certain amount of time whether or not they're wife material for us. They say that. They say, men know when they get with a woman or when they meet a woman, or they know whether or not this woman is wife material for them.
Mm.
for
Okay.
them.
Okay.
So with that being the case, men should be putting all their cards on the table,
Yes.
and women should be looking for that, and it should go vice versa. But we should be looking at the cards that are put on the table
Yes.
so that we know what we're getting into going
Yes.
forward. If it doesn't get done, then everybody is in the dark, and we end up with a situation where there's feelings. I get tired personally of going on these podcasts and watching these guys dog these women. You'll have like three
Woo.
men over here, three men over here, three women over here, and then you get the ringleader that's like, look, y'all women are being too this, that, and the other, and y'all this, that, and the other. Okay, but have y'all bred them into not well, that's not the right word, so please excuse me, but have you forced them into a corner where they have no choice but to do? You put men
Mm.
tend to put women
Wow.
in a position where they have no choice but to do what they have to
Mm.
do. And then when they do it,
Right.
now the man is upset. But it's like, what did you do to help? What did you do to like women have gone through a change
Yeah.
where they're not able to like a lot of these young ones, especially young ones, and I'm sorry if these young men don't like it, they'll kick me off the men's club again. I don't really care. At the end of the day, the truth is the truth. When it comes down to it, if you mistreat a woman, don't expect her to just fall in line because people have
Woo.
feelings, they have emotions, they
Yeah.
have needs. And when you go off the cuff and treat her like you're the Neanderthal and you're supposed to be allowed to pull her by her hair, she's supposed to do whatever the heck that you tell her to do. She's not
Woo.
supposed to do anything unless she asks you. You
Yeah.
want to control every aspect of the relationship. That's wrong. That is wrong. I would
Yeah.
not expect my wife to do that. Like me and my wife, we have a relationship that I like to say 50-50 on things. I like to say like I don't believe in running everything. I don't. Like I need her. God gave her to me as my helpmate. Like that's
Yeah.
she's not my slave. She's not my, and they talk like that. They talk like women are slaves. Or
Yes.
when your role is to cook me my dinner.
Ooh-wee.
And then here's
Open up
another
them
thing.
legs and open up them
Here's
legs.
yes.
Ooh-wee.
And here's another thing. They'll go and not have a day.
Mm.
Half of these women. Okay, let's get on the women. Uh,
Come on.
Please, let's get on the women.
Come on.
Why do y'all settle? Why do y'all settle? And
There it
then
is.
complain when you're mistreated. But you settle.
Woo. Woo.
You settle. Like
Woo.
if my daughter ever got with any of these little idiots that decide to walk around the streets with their drawers around their ankles, that would be a problem. But you settle.
Big
What is
problem.
attractive about watching these dudes in the streets with their drawers all the way down to their ankles? They're sitting on the
Bruh.
couch while the woman's at work
Mhm.
making money. They're sitting on the couch playing PlayStation and Xbox. Then when the woman gets home, they expect their food cooked.
Ooh.
They expect the woman to clean. They've been home all day playing their video games. But yet and still, they're demanding that this woman be subservient to them.
Yeah.
And that's out of
Mm.
order all the way around. That's
Out of
even
order.
biblically, that's out of order.
Out of
Biblically,
order.
that's out of order. That's out of order. You don't treat the person that you love like that.
That's right.
Personally, if that's what you're doing, you're not loving them. And
That's
women, if you know this, if you see this and you know this, and this is what you have, you know it's wrong. If you stay, you're asking for this.
I agree.
So there can be
Mm.
no complaints.
I
You
You're more
agree.
than
cannot
asking
complain
for it.
about these men not doing their part or treating you wrong and not caring about your feelings when for years, we're not even going to say days, we're not going to say months, we're going to say for years, you've been sticking around.
Years.
1-2 years you're with this dude who's doing nothing for you. Don't even care about your feelings. He doesn't care. He
Mhm.
doesn't care. It's
Mm.
about him. It's
Mhm.
about him. It's about what he needs from you.
Real talk.
Period. What he
Nope.
needs from you. But you stay. but you stay.
Yes.
So women are you are what's the word I'm looking for? You are enabling
Yes.
these men to do what they're doing. But then you're turning around, getting in your girl cliques, and you're complaining
Right.
because these men are no good,
Right.
quote unquote. That's not fair.
No,
It's
it's
not
not.
fair because women have a role.
Yeah.
I don't like these men. I don't like these guys that are doing what they're doing. I can't stand it. I had to stop watching the podcast. I was watching them at work,
Mhm.
and I was getting mad, yelling at the phone. I had people walking by me staring at me because I'm yelling at my phone at these podcasts because these I'll call them what they are. These idiots are on here and they're tearing women down on their little views. And they're like, well, women want to be the man. Yeah, but you ain't doing your manly job.
No.
And if you and here's another thing: if they were with a guy that did them dirty, or a few men, this is what they know. They've had a lot of women have had to pick up the slack. A lot of women have raised children
Yes.
because men didn't raise them for them, didn't help them in any way, shape, or form. You have women
Yeah.
who have been told that they were nothing.
Yes. Come
My
on.
my wife did. I'm gonna keep it 100. My wife did not have a voice in any
Mm.
relationship she was in. Didn't
Wow.
have a voice. Okay, so it for her it feels great if she's able to say something.
Yes.
I'm for me. I'm like, okay, it's, I can't fathom that. There are times where I do.
Mhm.
We those situations have made her into what she was.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
you know what I mean? And with men treating her like crap and like, okay, well, you don't deserve, you don't deserve to be happy, or you don't deserve to speak, or what I say is what goes. There are moments where we may have situations, and then I'll be adamant about my opinion.
Okay.
She's adamant about her opinion. And
Okay.
because of her past, it may come across as you're trying to be bossy or you're not giving me a voice. When that's not the case, I'm
Mhm.
a man of another color. You know what I mean? I'm a different horse and I'm a horse of another color. I'm not the same horses that you rode before. Like, no. But again, the past tends to the past dictates our actions sometimes, and men tear women down and then they want women to be all that they're supposed to be for them,
Yeah.
and they've been torn down. We
Yeah.
don't care. Men don't care. And I'm sorry, LHD, I'm sorry, you said you did not want to hear another guy say, or anybody man say how, or anybody say how women are emotional and men are not. My thing is this on that topic there. That one stuck with me. I
Okay.
got what you're saying. I got what you're saying. But women, maturity can be an emotion as well.
Okay. I can accept that.
And okay, and with that, women are more mature than men at certain levels. I believe it wholeheartedly. I don't care what any man says. I don't care what your opinion is. I feel like if you get a 15-year-old boy with a 15-year-old girl, that girl's more mature to a
Okay.
degree. And not it's not in every case, but in
Mhm.
most cases,
Mhm.
the male tends to mature a little slower. I'm sorry. We slow with it sometimes. We tend to be a little slower. We catch up, we get there, but
Mhm.
I mean, I liken it to, okay, when little girls are, say, 5, 6, they're running around the house in mommy's high heels.
Yes.
They're trying on mommy's dress clothes because they're trying to be grown. They're trying to imitate mommy. They're
Yeah.
trying to be adultish.
Mhm.
Boys are sitting in the middle of the floor with their Tonka trucks and their GI Joes.
Absolutely.
They're, they're- we're not trying to put on daddy's bow tie. We're not trying to walk in daddy's shoes like that. We're not. We're trying to have fun with our little toys, our slingshots, and everything else. The little girls are trying to have tea parties, and
Mhm.
they've set up a table with all the because their heads are there already. That's where their heads are.
Okay.
So I feel like when it comes to the emotional thing, I feel like women do tend, and I'm one of those people that do say it, LHG. I do.
Okay.
I say, I feel that women are emotional creatures. I feel that they not, and when I say that, it's not a negative. I'm not saying that you're emotional. Like it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's what it is. It's women tend to think with their hearts. Men don't always think with their hearts.
Okay.
We see, like me and my wife, when we got together, that's how we talked. My wife was like, "You see everything in black and white."
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "Okay," and she's like, "But there's a gray area." I'm
Yes.
like, "What do you mean? There's a gray area, Tony. There's a gray area." So I had to learn. There's a gray area, and my wife was the one that had to tell me that. I'm
Mm-hmm.
older than her. She had to tell me that. Like, there's a gray area, Tony.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't. Everything's not black and white. Men see things. Look, it either is or it isn't. It is or it isn't. There's no. There. It might be. It might not. We don't want to deal with that. We deal with finites. We don't deal with the optionals. Women deal with the optionals. That's how you come across as being, say, emotional, because you do think with your hearts. You do. Women think with their hearts.
Mm-hmm.
We think with other things. They women think with their hearts, and it's not a bad thing. And more men need to think with their hearts. If they did, we wouldn't have the problems we have. But men don't think. If men thought with their hearts, then the podcast that we've been watching about these men and how they're treating women, that wouldn't happen because they'd have a heart. They'd be
Mm-hmm.
thinking with it,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't. Everything
Mm-hmm.
is black and white. You're a woman. This is your role. This is how you
You
do
preach.
it. How dare
You
you
preach.
try to take a controlling role in the
You preach to
relationship?
the
Or
choir.
how,
You
yeah,
preach to the
I had
choir, bro.
one. Yeah, I listened to one of them tell the people in the panel, there's no such thing as a female alpha. He also said there's no such thing as two alphas being able to be together.
There's no such
Those are
thing as a
two
male
lies.
alpha either.
Those are lies. Those are straight up lies. But this is how they've been conditioned to think.
Mm-hmm.
Women can't be alphas. Why? That's out of order. How's it out of order?
Mm,
It's not saying that she's your boss. And you've got a complex when you're thinking because a woman, you give a woman an opportunity to have an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Now she's out of her role because she
Wow.
has an opinion. Because
Wow.
she has an opinion, that's wrong. On every level, that's wrong. That's
Wow.
wrong. I mean, women are allowed to have opinions. They're allowed to have feelings. They're allowed to be able. And my wife made sure that I understood that when we got together. Not that I didn't know, but she really wanted to make sure she was allowed to have an opinion. It's like, it's my right. It is your right. It's every woman's right to have an opinion. It's every man's right to have an opinion, but it doesn't make it solely right. It doesn't make it point blank. Like,
Right.
and your opinion is that it's your opinion. Let's talk about your opinion. You can have it. Let's talk about it. Let's come to a compromise. Even that'll work. Let's do the compromise. But these men now, they don't want to do that because they feel women have gone above and beyond their roles. They've put them in a box, and it's like you're leaking out of that box. That's not right. You're crossing a line. Now you're trying to be the man.
Mm.
She's trying to have equal rights.
Yes.
Yes, she's trying
Yes.
to have equal rights, and I'm not talking, like we're not talking like politics. We're saying she wants to feel like she's part of the relationship,
Yes.
and she
That's
needs you to understand. She needs you to understand what she's bringing to the table. But
good.
you don't want to do that because if she talks, then that's a problem. If she says something that you don't like, then she's crossing a line. I'm not gonna
Mm-hmm.
like everything my wife says. I'm not. I'm not gonna agree with everything she says. But she has a right to state her opinion. She really does. She has a right to at least say how she feels.
But
You
that
know?
concept, brother, is what gets murky. Just because you disagree doesn't mean we are being disrespectful. Some people take disagreement as dishonor, disrespect, and the whole conversation is gone. So
Yes.
that's a part of the foundation of this discussion. How do we bridge the gap? You recognize that I have my own opinion. Even if I'm married to a person, yes, the two become one, but in the biblical sense, but my brain didn't just go dormant and I took half of yours and put it in my head. I still have my own thought process. I'm an individual. I have my own identity. I just happen to be a wife to this person. But disagreement doesn't mean I don't love you any differently. It's just I don't agree with that. So that we
Yeah.
have to be able to talk to each other in a way where how can we meet in the middle? Or can we agree to disagree and still have a good relationship or friendship or whatever? But this constant, this antagonist and protagonist debacle that we have with one another is causing us to have an even wider gap. You in Detroit and I'm in Thailand. That's the gap.
Look, I'm gonna
Shoot,
say this.
the gap got deeper than that. The gap has been way longer than that for a longer period of time. This ain't new. They used to say women are from Venus and men are from Mars. So that divide
Yeah.
has been way like it's been out there for a minute now. It's been out there, and we have a problem because the ones that are being taught, they're being taught wrong, or if they're not being taught, they're coming into their own, and it's wrong.
Okay.
When I'm
Okay.
talking in terms of mental for men, I'm talking in terms as of vision for men and what they think a real man is and what a real man's role is.
Mhm.
Um, it's gotten distorted a little. Some of it's going back to what it used to be.
A
You know,
little,
like yeah, like okay,
a
like
lot.
if I
No,
want to have
sorry, a lot.
like how you gonna get mad at your woman when she's upset because you cheated on her and got
Wow.
caught? Now you're
Ooh,
mad at her. How do you flip that? How do you
flip
justify
it
that?
right on
But
around. Wow.
we're going back to the days of kings where they had their concubines and they had
Mm,
their queen.
mm,
Okay.
Queen didn't say anything. She kept her mouth shut. She didn't say anything about it. As long as she was tended to, it's all good. But the
Mhm.
see,
concubines were there. It's like, okay, that's that mentality that they have. It's sort of like that mentality right there, where it's like, I can have whatever I want. And then
Mhm.
then they fight and justify why they think that way. It doesn't make sense to me. It
Yeah.
doesn't. And we have a problem. That's where we need to figure out how to fix things because they're learning it from somewhere, and it's
Mhm.
see,
becoming a general concept.
Right.
It's scary. Like when you brought up the podcast, I was like, oh my goodness, she's been watching too, because it there's several guys out there that are preaching this crap. They're preaching it, and women are being made to made to feel like they're wrong for having a voice.
Yeah.
And they're pretty much without literally saying it, and some of them are. It's like, just shut up and do what you're supposed to do. Know your role.
That's the
Know
whole
your role.
campaign of the late but not so great Kevin Samuels.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
took issue with him in a lot of the way he portrayed men and making women feel, well, you're fat. How are you even talking about this? Or
Yeah.
you're not even pretty. So you have no say. So what? Who says that?
see, I think and see, and that's a good segue right there for me to try to hop on that because I think we have lost, we have for some strange reason, and this is just from just general observation, we
Okay.
have lost respect for each other.
Totally.
We have lost we have lost respect for each other. Now instead of just respecting each other as just man and woman, now it's just it's this protagonist antagonist type
Yeah.
relationship that you just mentioned, SG, and one person got to be the good guy and one person got to be the bad guy, and it should not be that way. Why can't we
Mhm.
respect each other on the basis of just being, first of all, being human,
Yes.
and then number two, being a man or a woman. Those are two general bases of it.
Mm-hmm.
I can I don't have so like I don't have to know Miss J to respect her. I can respect her. I can show her. I can respect her on the strength of her being number one, a human being. Number two, being a woman.
Yes.
Those are two things that are for me that are automatically given from the jump.
Yeah. Should be.
Everything,
Should be. I was about to say that. Should be.
Should be.
for me, it's automatic from the jump. Everything else is earned. Everything else after that, you earn it. But human being, male or female, automatic respect in my eyes and in my book.
But you
That's
asked
just
the question on a previous show, who's teaching us?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For men to approach that in the way that Brother T. Wade said, this rough approach, where'd they get that from?
Mm-hmm. And
They're
it's not just from the absentee fathers either.
okay.
Um, it's not just from there. And I had this conversation with my wife. It's not just these kids aren't just learning, and it's not just that, but they're not just learning from the
Yeah.
home. Yes, it's huge there in the home because
It's
what
the
they're being taught is wrong, or they're not being taught at all at home, which is wrong. I
Mhm.
don't know that a woman, I mean, that's something I don't focus on, where they say a woman can't teach a man how to be a man. I honestly feel like, a man needs to teach a boy how to be a man. But in order for him to do that, he needs to know how to be a man himself. He needs the manly concept, and a lot of men don't have it. So that's a problem. But they're not just getting it at home; they're getting it online. Because again,
Yeah.
we ourselves have been watching the podcast. So if you get any of these teenage kids who are watching these same podcasts, they're thinking this is how it's supposed to be because it's their podcast. They're inviting women in, and then they're bashing the women. And
Mm,
these young ones are soaking this crap in. So you're getting it from the internet as well. You're getting it from your peers, whether they be on the corner or whether they be in the schools or even on the job. Like the stuff you hear these kids talk about in McDonald's is crazy.
wow.
Employee, like they're getting it from a little bit of everywhere. So it's a universal thing that's going on right now. It's not just absentee fathers that they didn't know, they didn't learn because the father wasn't in the house. Okay, maybe not. But guess what? There's other areas
Other
too.
influences. It's other
Other
influences.
influences, outside
Yeah.
influences that do that. And
Right.
Even with the father in the house, the
yep,
outside influences are taking prevalence over prominence over what's being taught
yep,
at home.
yep,
So
It's the community working against us. If the community of men that they're around feels that way, and that's their place that they go to, whether it's the barbershop, whether
yep.
it's, wherever y'all go, strip club, wherever y'all go, if the community is talking like that
Hey,
and perpetuating that behavior, is that where this is coming from?
that's part of
it,
it.
it's
Yep.
coming. It's coming from. I don't see when you started this series, Fred, in the past few shows we've been on. I still the question has been there in different ways, and I'm still trying to figure out how that even gets fixed because it's been generations of this going on, and it doesn't seem to get any better. It's just getting worse. It doesn't get any better.
It is. It is.
It doesn't
But
get. You have rules like I said. I stated back when the kings were allowed to do such and such. Different households, different men of certain standings were allowed to do certain things. Okay, so then it went to we're going to move on and we're going to do some other things. We're going to create laws because some things may not be right, and women are now speaking out, on how they feel. So we'll make some laws and we'll enforce some of them, but not all of them.
but
And then now it's going all the way back.
but we're
Everything
not.
goes full circle.
But we're not
Everything
living
goes
in the
full
dark.
circle.
But we're
We're
not living
not.
in the dark ages. We're not living in the dark
We're
ages
not.
anymore. We're not.
We're not. So the women have rights and are able to act on those rights
Mm,
compared to before when they couldn't without getting hung, stoned, or anything else. So
mm.
you're right. We're not in the dark ages, but we're still not in a situation. It to not be in the dark ages, but still have the same concept as what they had
Yeah.
in the dark ages. That says
Yeah.
something.
It says a
I
lot.
mean, we can say, yeah, we're not in the dark ages, but we still have the same thought process that they had back then.
You know
Some
what?
men still have that same process. That same process.
What Kenyatta just said sums it all. Sums it up for
Yes.
me. Sums
Yes.
it sums it up for me completely.
Yes.
There's no God in anything. They're looking at people and blind leading the blind. That sums it up for me in so many words,
Because if
It really,
without even saying anything.
if
it
we
really does. That it really does. I like that was even said. I
I
don't
do,
like that. I don't like the fact of that statement,
but it's
but
it's
But
real.
it's
it's a
true.
fact.
It's true.
It's
It's
real.
true.
It's a fact.
It's real. A matter of fact, I would go as far as to say this. When I started doing podcasting, I based my whole premise on, thank God for therapy. I based it on the 7 dimensions of wellness.
Mm-hmm.
We talking emotional, financial, spiritual, social, physical, intellectual.
Mm-hmm.
If we started with making sure we as individuals were well in those areas prior to attaching ourselves to someone else, I ain't saying we're gonna be perfect, but if we
Yeah.
at least looked at those components of life, how am I doing in my body? How am I doing in my mind, in my intellect? And who's checking in on the brothers? If we're gonna change the way people think, who's checking in with the young cat saying, let's kick it about women,
Yeah.
relationships? I want to give you a scenario and see how you would handle this. Who's having those kind of conversations outside of what the culture is showing? Who's having a one-on-one as a mentor, a big
Mm.
brother? Who's talking
Mm.
to your own little cousins, little brothers, little neighborhood? Who's having those type of talks about real life situations? Just to kind of see where their thought process is. And if you ask a question about a scenario and they come back with, well, Lil Weezy would say, Lil Sneezy would do, uh, mm-mm,
Nah.
no.
No, no, sir.
I mean, let's
No,
find
sir.
out, what are they thinking. You talk about
Yeah.
conversation. We got to
Yeah.
have them while they're kind of young and impressionable to say, hold on, what you seeing on some of these videos and some of these posts, that crap ain't even real. When I was
Yeah.
growing up, the big thing was we was B's and H's. I mean, that
Those
was
words are still
real.
prevalent.
I mean, have as many of them as you can, get as many women as you can, have them as scantily clad as you can, by the pool, jumping up and down.
That's still a thing. That's still a
That's
thing.
still a thing. That's still
That's
a
what
thing.
sex sells,
Sex
and
sells.
the disrespect is what it is. Like so,
The object.
and
The
here's the other problem.
objectification.
Like you said a good thing, LHG, which is you brought up a good point as far as who's checking in, who's having these conversations, but at the same time the youngers are paying attention to specific people, and the specific people they're paying attention to are already in the limelight. So if
Mm,
Yep.
you have if you have little Wheezy and little Sneezy up there calling everybody B's and H's,
mhm.
this is what they feel is okay to do. And if you try
Mm-hmm.
to tell them otherwise, now you get their rebuttals, you get their attitude, you get their anger, and you
Wow,
get that how about you do you, I'ma do me, and they
wow,
walk away from it. They walk
wow.
Yep.
away from it. Now I'm not trying to say that it's a no-win situation, but the Bible, if we go there, already says this is what's going to happen. It's already happening.
Correct.
They're
Well,
not caring about our opinions right now. I just finished watching something was yesterday where somebody said there was a point like it was okay for Snoop Dogg to get on the records and get on TV and everything and call women B's and H's. He
Mhm.
literally and he pulled up, he's like, okay, so it is okay for me to say this. It is okay for me to call them this, right? Like that's not even a question. Like, no, that's not okay. But this
Right.
is what they're looking at. This is where you're getting it from. This is where
Wow.
you're getting it from. It's the outside. I mean, the people they're paying attention to are the ones that are not going to have these conversations
Right.
because little
but
Sneezy's throwing $100 bills all over the place, and
Mhm.
little Breezy is wearing gold chains. And although it's implanted, like they don't buy half of this stuff. Some of them.
Right.
Like even Method Man got on internet and was like, can somebody please explain to me how they have this much money? I've been in the game for such and such amount of time. I don't even have a car. I didn't know he didn't have a car, but he's like, I don't even have a car. My wife has a car. My kids have a car. I don't have a car. These guys are flying private jets.
Wow.
This is what our young people are saying. But they don't understand what's going into it, and it's not about the dedication and the workload and all. There's stuff going on behind the scenes. Like even Meth didn't know, but he's like, how is it that they have that much money? How
Right.
is it that what are they doing that they have that much influence and they have that much money and they're able to do what they're doing?
Yeah, something
Our
going
young
on
people,
underground.
yeah, and our young people see this, and it's an easy way out. Like they
Yeah,
don't want to work for anything. Now
no.
you're talking privilege. They don't want to work for anything. They want everything handed to them.
Entitlement.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, like
Entitlement is
work,
real, boy.
like work. Me and my wife had a conversation. If I make millions, is my kids supposed to automatically get it? I think I had that conversation with
Uh,
you too, Fred. Are my kids supposed to? I'm the Bible, and this is where we get it twisted. The Bible says you're supposed to leave an inheritance for your kids. That doesn't necessarily mean it's supposed to be financial. It doesn't. But if I go and I make millions of dollars, I'm supposed to just hand over millions of dollars to my kids, and they don't even know what it is to work for anything. I have a problem with that. And, my wife is like, well, we shouldn't want the kids to suffer. True. It's not that I want them to suffer. I need them to understand what it is to actually, because you treat, if Uncle John buys me a pair of sneakers, that's cool. I love my sneakers. But if I have to go out and buy them sneakers, please don't step on my sneakers.
Please don't.
No, I'm going to go home. I'm going to polish them up and
Yeah.
everything else. Why? Because I had to put something into it. So I understand the money and everything that went into it. If you give them everything, then they don't know what it is to get for themselves. They don't. And that's how come they're able to treat the women the way they're treating them now.
Right.
Sorry, but that's part of it. That's part of it. They don't know what it is to actually respect anything or work for anything at all.
But
So
you mentioned, T Wade, the other part was, and you asked a very critical question. Why
mhm.
do women settle?
yes, yes,
Can I shed some light on that?
please,
Of
please
course,
do.
Miss J, jump in at any time. This ain't a three. This
Anytime.
ain't a three-headed monster.
Can I tell you why I settled? I can't
Yeah.
speak for any other woman because I didn't think enough of myself to think that I could get any better.
Correct.
I
Mm.
figured
Mm.
if it's the only bus that's gonna come, it's the only bus. And if I don't catch this bus, I'm stranded. So I'd rather get on a bus than wait for the right bus because I don't want to be just out here in the dark alone.
Ooh-wee.
Well, to kind of touch on that, LHG, I totally can relate to that. I have found myself in that same situation of conforming in different relationships. But what I have really understood now is that it is imperative for men and women to address whatever issues, baggage, past
Please do.
mistakes, past relationships. They
Yes,
need to address that before they
please.
move on to someone else.
Come on,
Yes.
tell it,
You
tell it,
will
tell it.
you will carry that into the next relationship. It is
Yes.
imperative to be healed. Healed doesn't mean just overlooking it or brushing under the rug and not
Right.
thinking about it.
That's
Healed
right.
means actually dealing with it head on. If you got to go to therapy, then fine, go to therapy.
Oh, and
But
I dropped off.
you got to
Mm.
release that stuff because all you're going to do is bring more toxicity into the next
Ooh,
relationship.
please.
Period.
True.
Beautifully
So for
said.
me personally, had I not done that, I would have continued being a people pleaser and
Yes.
just taking
Ooh,
whatever
Lord.
came my way. If you said I look pretty today, I was on it. You
Mm.
said, oh well, Shawan, you cook so good or you do this so well. I was on it because I felt like I didn't value me enough
Yes. That's it, sis.
that I would settle to
That's it.
Come on.
be validated by a man. So now I don't have to do that. I don't have to do that because I love me. I
Yes.
love everything about me in
Come on,
sickness and
girl.
in health.
Come
You know
on.
what I mean? So I don't need that validation anymore. But there are so many women that do.
Now,
And
look, now,
Men do
now,
that.
find
Men,
themselves
see,
men
see.
run that too. Men run that
true.
No,
too.
no, no. If you look at the demographics, Women deal with that more than men. Men don't. If you
Eh?
think about it, men don't normally settle. Men don't settle.
They get what they want.
There aren't many men that settle, and its proof is in the pudding. When they're able
Mhm.
to treat a woman any old kind of way, it's because they're not afraid of losing them. They know. Now, here's an argument that I had back when I was in Virginia a few years ago. M- Women will settle. Women will take what's given. Men will know what they have at home, but
Mhm.
they will still go out and venture. Why? They're not afraid of losing it. They're not. And they know if I don't get it in spot A, I can go to spot B. Women
Well, ain't that a
get
form of
made to
settling though?
feel that way. Men kind of cultivate. Well, they do. They cultivate women to feel that particular way. They
Well,
do.
But that
I
scenario you
beg
just
to
said,
differ. I
ain't that
beg
a
to
form of settling though? I think
Say
that's a
again.
form of settling.
What do you mean
But go ahead, Miss
settling?
J. The scenario you just mentioned, isn't that a form of settling?
For men,
Yeah.
they're not settling. Men aren't settling. Men know what they have at home. A man that goes out and cheats, he will cheat. Then he will turn around, get caught, and then get mad at her when he got caught.
That's
And
deflection.
then they'll break
right.
up and
Exactly.
he'll get mad. He'll turn around and get mad 2 weeks later if she's talking to some other dude.
Then
Because he feels
that's
threatened
irrational.
because he knows what he lost. That's not him feeling that's not him feeling like he's got no choice and he has to settle that because he could go anywhere. It's men know what they have at home. If I got with my wife, I know what my wife I would be an idiot to cheat on her because I know what my wife I know what my wife is about. I know what she brings to the table. So I don't
Mhm.
want to
Then why
lose that.
then why
Right.
go
But a
outside your
lot of
home and
men
why go outside your home and violate then?
Yeah, a lot of men don't care though. They don't care. They're not. Come on, man. Men are not settling. They're
But they
not
also
settling.
know that many of them women gonna be there regardless.
They do.
The
That's
one
not
Exactly.
who
settling. That's
the
them
one who
knowing.
settles is gonna still be there no matter how much he cheats. Well, maybe I
And
didn't
that's
do
on.
enough.
And that's on the woman. That
Well,
Yeah.
is.
I
He,
feel like this. A lot of
No,
he
the
that's
did
on
men
that's
something
on
wrong.
both. That's
a
on
lot of
both.
the men that fall into that type of category, again, that has something to do from their past that the new
Right,
woman
right.
has nothing to do with. It could be abandonment issues from a mother.
Yes.
It could have
Yes.
been they've been bruised or burned in another relationship and they bring that hatred into the next relationship. I have seen plenty of times, you're right, to an extent, that men don't care, but they do in actuality. It's just that they've been hurt so much, they're going to take advantage of the situation until they get to a point or feel as if I'm going to be hurt, I'll leave first.
Mm.
Or he'll end a
You
relationship
know,
on his terms.
I'm not gonna deal with this. I'm gonna leave before I get hurt. I'm
Mm.
gonna take advantage of it, and
Yep.
then I'm gonna leave before I get hurt. So you
But
getting
they,
off.
but Miss J, they tend to not. They don't want to leave. They don't necessarily want to leave. They see that the grass is greener on the other side. But they're only gonna go play in that grass. They're not gonna cultivate that grass over there. They're not gonna cultivate their own. What they're gonna do? Okay, I'm with Miss J. She's bringing everything to the table, but we might argue too much for me. Instead of leaving like they're supposed to do, they will go and end up hooking up with somebody else. But
Mhm.
outside of the arguing that Miss J and him does, everything else might be okay. Like let's keep it 100. The
Then
sex
that
might be great.
Right.
then
The
that's not
food,
addressing the problem at hand.
I
Correct.
That's
understand.
And
I
that's
that's
the
understand
idiotic.
that. I understand that, but it's what they do. Like, okay, Miss J brings everything to the table, but we argue, and I'm tired of hearing it. So I'm gonna go over here where Jenny don't argue with me. She just wants the booty calls. So I'm gonna hit
That's
that up.
the
But
lamest
I'm
excuse
not thinking
ever.
the men aren't thinking about what they're gonna lose in the process. They're not. They're just going to get their fill of whatever else they feel like they're missing. Now,
At the cost of what?
again, let that man leave her and then turn around and see her talking to some other dude on her porch 2 weeks later. And that's a problem. Why is it a
That,
problem if he wanted to leave? If he
that's his
wanted to
fault.
leave, that it
That's
is
on
his fault. But that's my point. That's my point. That's on him. I'm not saying any of that's on the woman. On the woman, I'm saying when a dude goes and does that crap because he feels he's missing something, or he don't want to deal with certain things, or even if he just likes that eye candy that's over there and she happens to make it easy for him to get, at the end of the
mm,
day he still knows what he has at home. He
bro.
still knows. He still knows. He still knows that she's cooking good, the sex is good, that he can do whatever he wants, and she normally doesn't have a problem with it per se. Whatever's wrong, it's allowing him to just go do whatever the heck he thinks he can do and get away with. When he
So
does it, because he's not trying to leave, because he knows what he has at home, he'll flip it and be like, just when she finds out he cheated, now he's flipping it. He's mad
deflection.
at her. In what reality does that make sense? How are you
It
going to
doesn't.
cheat on somebody, then get mad at her because
Deflection.
she caught you? You went in my
Deflection.
phone. Why you go on my phone? Now the topic is, oh, you went in my phone? Dude,
Deflection.
let's focus on the fact that you got caught out there.
But
Now,
guess
now
what?
he leaves the home. Now he's gone. But 2 weeks later, I guarantee you, 2 weeks later, if she's even talking to somebody, and he don't even know the demographics, or not demographics, he don't even know the details to it, but she's just talking to a dude. I guarantee you, when he sees her, before he sees her, she's going to be all kinds of B's and H's to all of his friends and everything else. He's going to say, I knew she was cheating on me. That wasn't even an issue. That was
Right.
not the issue. You cheated on her. Men will flip it. But
Yeah.
he's mad because he knows that somebody else has the capability now of having what he just lost.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
men don't want to lose what they have. They just want to be able to keep that and do whatever else they want to do and
Wow.
not get caught. And if they get caught, the woman is supposed to be okay with it, which is what these
That's
podcast
what
idiots
was
were
happening.
preaching on one of their shows. They
That's
literally
what's
said it.
Thing
happening.
is,
They
my thing is
literally
this.
said it on one of the shows.
My
He
thing
was
is this.
like,
Wow.
My thing is this, T, and I when I'm with you 100%. My thing is this: if you got a yard on this side of the fence, and you know that yard got weeds and all kinds of stuff, and you ain't working to pull those weeds out the yard and get that grass up to where it's supposed to look like, and you want to go play on the freshly manicured lawn on the other side, bro. No, because it's gonna be harder work to keep that freshly manicured lawn freshly manicured then you could have just went over to your lawn side of the grass and just pulled all those weeds out and took care of the lawn like you were supposed to.
Well,
Mhm.
And and the
well,
gra- and your grass would look just like that freshly manicured lawn on the other end of the neighborhood. But
right.
check
and I'm
it
gonna say
out,
this:
check it out, check it
we
out,
as men
bro.
don't we and I've done this crap
Mhm.
a couple of times, more than one time. I want to go over to the freshly manicured lawn
Why?
because it looked good, it looked enticing, and it's
And
and
why
it
didn't
smells
and why didn't
good.
you and why didn't you work on your lawn?
Too much
Why
work,
didn't you work on your lawn? You know
He
why you
like
too
didn't
much
want?
effort,
You know why?
GMO
too much
You
person.
work,
know why they
GMO
don't
person
work
too much
on the
work,
lawn? They
would.
don't
too much
work on the
work,
lawn because they don't want to put the work in. They
too much.
don't,
It was too
and
much
that's
work.
the problem with relationships now. People
That
don't want to
is
put,
right.
men and
That's
women
right.
don't want to
Want
put,
to put
they think this
work?
is just a hop in the bed and have some fun, and I'll
Yes.
get up and cook you breakfast in the morning type of
That's
situation. But when you
right.
get in a relationship, it takes work, whether you're married or not, and people
Mhm.
don't want to put the work in to make something last. That's how
That's
come
it.
marriage is. That's how come marriage divorce rates are so high because nobody wants to put the work in. When who was it? Big Mama and all them got married. The marriage lasts for years, years,
Ooh.
years. It lasted. When there was infidelity and everything else, they put the work in. They put the work in most of the time. They put the work in and they stayed together. We don't do that because nobody wants to put the work in any type of relationships. And that's not everybody, because some people do, but a lot of people, most relationships, people they don't understand. Relationships take work. They take work,
Yes, a
and
lot.
nobody wants to put the work in.
Look here.
It's sort of like what what's your face was saying. We had a comment where it was said to that degree, like it takes work. If people don't want to communicate and they don't want to work, then they're going to slide to the other lawn. Why am
Man,
I
look
going to
here.
dig up weeds? Why am I going to be up in the sun, exerting all kinds of energy and everything else, digging up these weeds when I can just go over to the other grass? It's
Right.
nice and green over there.
Because
Why?
people want things that's already built up and don't want to put on a hard hat and put on a tool belt and don't want to take the time to build it. It takes time to build things. First of all, it takes time to build a house because you got to have a foundation.
Yes.
You got to have the sheetrock and the walls put in. Then you got to have all the HVAC and the electrical stuff put in. All these
Mhm.
things take work. They also require an element of time. And
Yes. Time,
people be
patience.
forgetting about that.
Yes.
Work,
All of that.
required work. First of all, work is an element of time because if you're going to put in the work, it means you're putting in the time.
Yes.
Nobody wants to put in the sweat equity to make relationships work. And I'm not saying everybody doesn't want to do that. I mean, me personally, I've been in my relationship for 4 years, and I'll be damned if somebody say I didn't put in sweat. Me or her didn't put in sweat equity to make it work because we do that daily.
But why would you want to put in the equity when the woman is giving all the goods up? Work for what?
Correct.
See,
Work for what?
but see
But LAC, if you have
now
somebody,
that's
if you have
reversal.
somebody who's there if you're on the same page, again, let's go back to the communication. So if you're on the same page with your significant other, then y'all have the same purpose and you have the same goals
Exactly.
Key. That's the
when it
key.
comes to the relationship.
We got to get to that point. Many of us don't even get to that point because we are operating out of loneliness and desperation.
Correct.
Fiery loin situation.
Fiery loinage. Fiery loins get us in trouble every time. We haven't even gotten
Hey,
to know
Simone.
the person to see if they're even
Hey,
compatible because the loins are taking over. We are a sex crazed society that we ain't talking. Who wants to talk? Just take your clothes off. Right?
Man,
Just take
look, I and see and why I mean, you know what? I don't know. And maybe I'm probably an old school person because I did conversation. I did conversation. I like intelligent conversation. That stuff right there that's
I
cool.
like
That's
that
that's
too.
cool with me. That's cool with me. That
But
if
I
we can
was
sit there
told
and
I
talk
talk
about
too much. The dudes told me you talk too much, ma'am.
dude, you talk too little. What?
My point.
Hold on.
Dang, I don't
You can
even know
reverse
you.
that.
I don't even know
You reverse
you.
that. You
I'm
talk
a
too
talker.
little.
I'm a talker and I had conversations and still got done dirty.
Wow.
So
But
sometimes if you still got it, you got to measure out those goals. You can
yep.
communicate, and I think communicate is that first brick. It's got to be laid. But if
Mhm.
you, because without it, you can't do anything anyway. You at least got to know where they're coming from. But sometimes things go to the left.
But let's
It
go back
happens.
Exactly.
to what Miss J said. She talked about, and I mentioned it too earlier, but let's go back to this. When you come out of one relationship and you do not take the cool down period and you jump right into something else. Let me give you a scenario.
mhm,
Back in the day, I got into check and go and payday loans real deep, lost a lot of money,
Ooh.
bankruptcy and everything.
mm,
The companies got to the point where they had to force the borrowers to take a cool down because
Yep.
getting back to back loans and it became a problem to where it was a crutch.
right.
The
Mhm.
laws had to change after so many loans stop. 6 months and you can't come back here because now it's a problem. Now you are leaning on these loans too much. Even they recognized people needed some time to regroup. Same thing
Yep.
in relationships. We going out of one person's face to somebody else, out of one bed and to another, and you wonder why you're itching because you just bouncing. You just
Yeah.
bouncing. place to place. And you wonder why you're in mental turmoil? Because you're dealing with too many people at one time.
Yep.
You got them in all area codes.
Woo, Lord.
Come on. You're a Harlem Globetrotter.
Oh, I like the Globetrotters. I like the Globetrotters.
Oh, Lord.
And did
That's
not in distance, bro.
to do.
not in distance, bro.
But you're not even
in
giving
distance,
yourself
bro.
time to say, okay, this didn't work. Okay, let me get myself together. Let me rinse off what I just came out of. Get my hazmat suit. Get all this off of me. Get my mind right. Get back with the Lord the way I need to. Get my center. Get my focus. You know, get my finances in order. Maybe I want to go to school. Let me do me for a minute.
Right.
And while that's happening, if I meet someone, okay, how you doing? I don't want to rush because I just came out of that right now. But if you want to have a cup of coffee, if you want to have a chicken wing or 3, we may be able to do that. But if you want
these chicken wings and coffee,
if anybody gonna date LHC, you're gonna have to make sure she has wings.
please.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody gonna date me?
She need
I
basement
like
pound cake, basement
Yeah.
pound, chicken wings, and coffee.
Yes. Yes.
So
We're not
LHG.
even
Wings.
So LHG, what do we do? Because I know, not to be funny, but I know a lot of women who I've literally had to tell them at the verge of them breaking down. Like I've been at work and women are like walking around the facility with tears in their eyes, like just bawling and everything over something that's going on at home with their man, where you know they're so or they've lost their man. I've had family, same thing, where I've had to tell them
Kenyatta.
everything that you just said, which is like, just take time for yourself.
Take time.
But they don't seem to receive that. They don't like it. It's like I'm gonna be honest, my sister, like I talked to her, when she was going through it, and I was like, sis, just take time for you. Recalibrate your finances,
Yeah, that's a good word.
take time and make yourself happy. Be happy for you, and rediscover who you are and this, that, and the other.
Yes.
But I get told, oh, I gotta go now. I gotta go. Like they don't want to converse. They don't want to converse about it, and they don't want to necessarily do it. Like I guess it does go to what you said, as they don't want to be alone.
Many of us cannot stand being alone, and there is no real validation if you don't have a man, and that can come from your upbringing. Correct. And I mentioned my story a lot. As a little girl, I remember the coldness of the car seat where I was being put in the back of my mom's car because we were always taking some man to work, picking some man up. Who's this guy? Who is this? And why am I out here in the cold, mama? Because she could not take being, and no shade, I love my mother, but she was not used to being alone. And in many generations or homes or cultures or whatever, you're taught, you ain't married yet. You ain't married yet. You ain't got no man. Where your man?
See,
what about me? I'm a human being. I'm good.
That about time, that by now statement.
See?
Yeah. I don't like it.
And that can be a cultural thing too. Everything is couple, and it's nice to be coupled up. But what about enjoying your life when it's just you and being okay with that?
Exactly.
Until the right time. Being okay with who you are in your singleness. Being okay with peace party of one.
I don't think men or women are comfortable with being alone. I don't think, if that were the case, then because men leave one home and go to another. Women will tend to end up settling because they don't want to be alone. So and truth be told, we were not placed on this planet to be alone. We weren't. But the fact that we end up settling or we do wrong because we don't want to be alone, that's an issue. That's a problem.
Issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, whoo, Lord, I tell y'all,
Simone got her hand up, Fred.
Come on, Simone. Come on in here, baby.
Hello, everybody. I just want to say I agree with what he said, Mr. Wade. I feel like we both do it out of spite. And then, like he said, we get mad at each other when one of us go cheats because the other one did it too. Like, I feel it's like it's the Rihanna song. I don't know if y'all heard it. Take a bow. Like, and the verse says, "You only sorry because you got caught." Like the man, the man will do it, and he'll come back and oh baby this, oh baby that, and then when we do it, it's like,
you know I love you, girl. You know I love you, girl.
Right. And then when we do it, it's like, curse you. Who you think? You don't leave me. Blah 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 blah.
Man,
Like
I get that. I do.
And then, like he said, we go through each other's phones, but we the bad ones if we go to his phone. But when we go to when he goes to our phone, it's okay. We have to accept it. Like I think it's like a stereotype because when women do it, it's wrong, but when men do it, it's okay.
Negative Ghost Rider. The way I see it, disrespect is disrespect. It doesn't matter who
disrespect is disrespect. That is true. However, we have different stereotypes. We treat women differently than men. When men go cheat, it's like
it's applauded, right? Everybody.
But when women cheat, when women do it, it's like, oh, you a whore, you this, you that.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Double standard.
But let a woman, yeah.
Double standard.
You let a woman speak on that when he does it, and she might get a violent response because it's a no-no. But there'll be all kinds of B's and H's to everybody if he catches her.
Right.
Like there is a double standard that's there. Whether it's right or wrong, it exists. There is a double standard.
What's crazy about it is this: I've seen women. So okay, he got caught, but what's her name? Where she live?
Yeah.
Well, what did she do? That were you asking too many questions? Sister? You want to meet? You want her shoe size? You want her social security number?
What you gonna do? Pull up on him?
And some have. Take me to her house right now. Why?
No, she settled. She settled. He became her property, and she settled. So she's gonna fight for what she settled for.
See,
when instead of looking at it and saying he's garbage for doing this to me, and he doesn't love me, so I'm gonna move on and I'll find somebody else later on. Instead of doing that, oh, he's property now, and she settled for that because she probably, like you said, probably doesn't feel like she can get any better. So she is settled. So it's easier to go at the other woman than it is to go at him.
Oh, we go for the juggling.
It's like what LHG said. It's like what LHG said. We want to stay because we think, because we got kids or whatever, and it's not saying we get like that, but because we think he still loves us, so we stay, even though he cheated on us
or
a million times.
You turn into
Love is blind.
First Lady Abigail Gray, who I love, and she says, "Oh, this was a strange woman, and my husband was dealing with trauma because he wasn't a popular kid at school. So I'm gonna stay because this is my investment." Girl, please. And no shade, Lady Gray, but that's some bull crap. He was traumatized so bad that he just fell over into the girls' hotel room. Just fell over. Just no.
So
dramatic. The dramatic. Oh my God, I love it.
No. He was just so wounded. He was so wounded that it's my job. He's my assignment. He's my assignment. Girl, bye.
Yeah.
And let me say, we as men and women need to stop thinking that everybody is our assignment.
Period.
Ain't nobody on this planet Earth your assignment, okay? Unless it's your husband and or your wife, and even they are not your assignment.
And I want to go back to the beginning when LHC said, I'm trying to figure out what she said. She said we have our own intellect, we have our own, mindset. and it's not like we both can be controlling on both ends, men and women.
Truth.
That's
So
true.
so therefore, we have to be able to, when we do get into these relationships. I'm only speaking from I was about to say experience, opinion. um, we both individually. Now, we both individually do have our own mindset. So therefore, when we come into a relationship, we both can speak our mind. We both can do what is necessary for the relationship to work.
But back in the day, though, y'all, the way dating was, you use that time to be around a person in different settings.
Yeah.
You took the time to talk. I mean, I remember being on the phone a lot, and it don't have to be talking. What you got on? What you got on? What don't you have on? Good. What don't you have on? I mean, it ain't even got to be all of that. It could just be about, school, dreams, aspirations, and you just really vibing with that person. But now we're so physical with one another, and we going straight from what's your name to where you live. Why he got to know your address and you just told him your name? Why is he laying up with you? When do we stop going to the movies and to the state fair, and we stop going to concerts together, and we stop going skating? So now it's just, what you doing? What you doing? Come on back. The door is open. And then 3 babies.
Exactly. Like what happened?
Where these kids come from? They ours. Yep. We don't even do dating the same. We don't create these experiences where you can truly get to know a person, to the point where even if you kind of kicking it, and maybe you ain't a match per se, it ain't gotta be a knockdown drag out. You know what? You're a real nice guy.
Respectfully.
And you're gonna be a great person for someone. I'm just not sure you and I. No, it's what you mean. Right. What you mean? And it shouldn't even happen. We are adults.
Right.
Listen, straight to bed, then the more.
Listen,
it is.
You are the
right.
Okay,
so,
you are.
What? Because we talking about
foundation of just kicking it like the old school 80s and 90s, kicking it, listening to music, vibing and
hanging out,
walks by the water, and can I hold your hand? Yeah, you can hold my hand. Yeah. I mean, just that little back and forth, just getting to know each other and looking forward to a good morning. How you doing? Have a good day at work. I mean, we are, it's love or hate, and it ain't nothing in between. And then it starts to get violent. And unfortunately for women, since y'all call us emotional, I bust the windows out his car. I mean, and unfortunately, we lose it for a woman.
Get you ran up on for real.
A woman who is not able to accept that this thing work, and now she's stalking him, and now she watching his goings and comings, and she doing more drive-bys than the Boys in the Hood movie. I mean, come on, ma'am. We need to get you together. You don't need no
the same thing though.
Jesus and therapy.
That'll get you ran up on.
I mean, but people do it. It's a whole song about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, don't do that. You're gonna get arrested, honey.
Or worse.
Or worse.
Because
And whose car was that anyway? That wasn't even his car.
Oh my God.
Somebody else's car.
That's for part 2. That wasn't even his car, baby. That wasn't even his car. You didn't jack up that's his mama car.
I mean, we talk about the stuff that we're trying to do to try to build stuff, but also to the opposite of that. And I want to talk about this a little bit to the opposite of that. What do we do as men, the black men and women, to continuously destroy ourselves as far as like community, like our sense of community and things of that nature? One of those things, and I'll start off. One of those things I think is Well, two things I'm gonna go off. One is a lack of respect for each other, and another one is a sense of entitlement.
Boom.
And I think we all know what that means when we talk about sense of entitlement.
Bingo.
Well, I'm supposed to have this, or you supposed to give me that. Huh? What? I'm supposed to do what? I'm supposed I'm supposed to pay you no attention. I'm supposed to not do anything else. But why am I supposed to give you anything?
Right.
You're not. I
There it
don't
is.
owe you any. I don't owe you anything. And if you think I owe you something, then you're out. Then you're out of your mind. The only thing I don't think I do owe you is respect, common decency, honor, um,
Right.
fealty. But anything outside of that, you know, I'm not. That's something I'm not supposed to. I'm not supposed to automatically give that to you. If you're gonna tell me that I owe you, or if you're gonna tell me that you owe me this, or I'm entitled to this because I am this, because no,
First of all,
because entitlement, to me, entitlement will get you tossed up as far as I'm concerned.
first of all, my pastor brings it up all the time. There's a Bible verse that says, "Oh, no man, nothing but love." So therefore, nobody owes anybody anything. Period. Point blank. End of story. Close the book. Close the book. End of the chapter. Period. Point blank.
I don't know. I don't owe you nothing.
We don't owe anybody nothing but to love them.
And then on top of that, we don't understand the rules of engagement when it comes to us as men and women. There are rules to how we are supposed to engage each other. Nobody understands that. I think if you're gonna come all out just rah, that's not how you do that. If you come on,
So
you
I
gonna
don't, I
come
don't
on
know that, I don't know that I'd call it. I don't know if I'd call those rules, but I mean, if you want to say that, I don't know. I mean, rules. Everybody's different. Everybody handles things differently. Everybody wants their relationships to be done in a different manner. No two relationships are the same. So my thing is, when it comes to it, like, I agree that there should be an order to things. I'm not. I wouldn't say rules, but I think I would use the word order
There
to
has to be
how
rules.
things.
There has to be rules of engagement. To me, there
Okay,
has
so
to.
what are those? So what are those rules that everybody's got to live by when it comes to it?
Don't nobody have to mean. No one has to live by these rules, but to me, there has to be rules. There has to be some rules of engagement when it comes to
Okay,
interpersonal relations.
so then you have to personalize that and say, for you, like you just did. For you, there are certain rules, but you can't. I mean, because that's why I'm asking. If you're gonna be plural with it, then I need to know what these rules are, because maybe I'm missing some.
And we got to get a copy of it.
Everybody's relationship is different.
We got to get a copy of the book.
Everybody's relationship is different, and I think there's common sense to some things. I think there's a way to handle, and I think you hit on the respect thing. I think that's huge. I think that's huge. I think communication is huge. I think those two things, relationships can't go forward without those two things: communication and respect. Otherwise, if you don't respect somebody, don't get with them. And if you don't communicate, without communication, the relationship is dead. So without those two things, we don't even need to talk relationship. But outside of that, anything that you do is personalized to make a relationship work. Because some people may not need what you need. They may not need that. So we got to be, not to be, not to be confrontational or anything. I'm just saying, if we're going to say there's rules, then we need to pattern on what these rules are. And then we need to write a rule book, because there are no rules to relationships as far as how you conduct them. Everybody's different. I know people with really loose relationships, and I'm like, I couldn't do it, but they flourish. They're doing fine with the way they do things. But as for me and Taj, we may do something completely different. Like, everybody is different. I just think that the word rules tends to add something more to the game board. Like, we're gonna, okay. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel you. So,
but I do believe you're right as far as it should be common sense. I think common sense needs to be applied, Respect needs to be applied. Conversation needs to be had, and you're off to a good start there. And then you
Right.
have to develop from there. There's no handbook for relationships. They try to write them, but how are you going to write a
Mhm.
handbook when you got 50 million different people? It doesn't
Woo.
apply.
True.
It
And it could,
doesn't.
and that,
It,
and that book comes from that person's personal experience.
it comes from their perspective on the topic, and they may not. Well, you may not want to go by their perspective. Everybody's got a rule book
True,
for
true,
their
true.
own
But
relationship.
Right.
so right.
Right.
So and the one thing I really want us to jump into real quick, because I think this is something that I think does destroy us as black men and women.
Okay.
It's a word that starts with the letter S, ends with the letter N. And I think we all know what this word is.
Well, how many letters is in
Sin,
between the S and the N?
Right. Please tell us.
Submission. Submission. Submission.
Oh, okay. Okay.
oh,
Well,
That word.
Well,
that's a hard word right
you
there.
could have
Like
at least gave us
that.
more clues than that.
No, no, but I do want
no.
to talk about. I do want to talk about it because I want to talk about it because I think it does destroy us because it's been remixed and then remixed again and then remixed in an extended club version again so many times that people really don't understand what that means. What
Well,
it
if we ain't
truly
talking about a
means.
married couple, we should be talking about submission. That's how I
There you
feel.
Right.
go.
True.
Because if
True.
you're dealing with somebody, and somebody put that in the comments earlier, I think it was Kia. I don't think we got a chance to stick to that comment, but she was talking about how women, depending on how they were raised or how bad they really want this relationship, will tend to give a man wifely benefits. Like she's so all in to where her whole life is just all enthralled with him. And then you talking submission and they buying houses together and that's not even your husband, honey.
Mm-mm.
And then he does what he wants to do, and then you mad because now when it doesn't work, you got red tape you gotta undo.
Right.
So knowing
Whole
knowing
bunch of
your
red tape.
role, knowing where you are in the relationship stages and that communication, are we in the kicking it stage? And then we
Yeah.
moved into dating, and then we moved into exclusivity. And trust me, if you haven't both said you're exclusive, you ain't exclusive, honey. In your mind, you might be, but he's not.
Right.
I feel
But
like
see,
when
it
Right.
it
goes,
comes
but
to submission, if we're gonna do it the Bible way, I feel like we take that out of context too.
Okay.
Because
way out of
feel like
context.
I feel like when we say submission, we feel like, oh, especially the women. Well, men feel like the women should just shut up, sit down, and shut up. Don't do nothing. Don't
No.
say nothing. Don't
That's
talk.
that James Evans Jr. kitchen in the bedroom syndrome.
No.
Hashtag
No.
kitchen and bedroom syndrome.com.
No. No. And no.
Dang on.
So if
Dang,
so,
dang.
so Simone, if we're talking about this in a biblical context, we're gonna break this down in a biblical context. Now we're gonna talk about it the way it's supposed to be.
Right. That's what I'm saying. We take it out of context.
But here's my thing on it. Here's my take with that. Now I'm not a Bible scholar, and I don't
Neither am
say
I.
I don't know chapters and verses and stuff like that. However, to me, when we talk about husband and wife situations, submission is a two-way street.
All right
It is
now.
Exactly.
not.
Sounding
It
good
is.
so far, brother.
Exactly.
It is not a one-way dirt highway. It is
Exactly.
not a one-way dirt road.
It's not a
It's
James
not a
Evans
one-way dirt
highway.
road. Hell no. It's a two-way
Yeah,
street.
well,
It's a
see,
two-way.
even the interpretation biblically has been
Woo.
debated for a minute now.
Many,
Like
many years.
because you have to know what the scripture says. Like as far as even to quote it, you need to know what the scripture says. Then you need to know what it means
Right.
after you've quoted it. Like
Rightly divide the word of truth. Come on here, sir.
yeah, and basically we don't do that. And
Basically.
there's because it goes into because the scripture talks about women submitting to their husbands.
It does talk
what
about it.
what has happened is the new generation, not even the new generation, let's just say men have picked up that mantle of saying, okay, you're supposed to be submissive to me. They love that when it goes into the wedding vows. Like, okay, that means submit. Like This is what's supposed to happen. So now men have a different perspective on that word as to where women, they don't like that word because of the way that men have used it going
But
down
that's
the
why
line.
I said. That's why I said men take it over the head and just like sit down and shut up. You do what I say.
No, no, ma'am. No, ma'am.
But here's the thing. Here's the click to that is in the Bible, biblically, men were the head of the house,
Mm-hmm.
and women were not given the privileges. And I'm gonna be honest with it. Women were not given the privileges that they have now. When it comes to their opinion, when it comes to money, when it came to a lot of things, women
Yeah.
did not have the privileges back then in the days of Moses and everything. They did not have the privileges that women have now.
Right.
And their opinion and being able to just to speak up on their opinion, that came about. Like we just finished. It ain't been that long ago that when we dealt with women's rights.
Yeah. True.
So basically,
That's
they
right.
didn't
That's
exist.
true.
Otherwise, we wouldn't have been there wouldn't have been marches and court hearings and all that other crap.
True.
This is new. This is fairly new. It's old, but it's fairly new. This is stuff that happened in the days, and women are different from what they were then. Their rights are different. The way that women can interject or say things or do things or have things, it's changed. It's changed from biblical. So that's a whole big conversation. That word is really
That's
it's
big.
hard. You brought up a
That's
good word, friend, but it is hard because we're going to continually have that confrontation over that word because women see it as a negative word and men use it as a negative
Hmm.
on
it's
women.
it's only gonna be kryptonite to those the people that act like Superman.
You
The way
say
I that's,
that,
that's how
you
I look
say
at it.
that, but the majority is acting like that right now. So that's a
Well,
whole lot of people who that word
well,
is kryptonite to. That's a
well,
whole lot of
okay.
people.
A lot of
Well,
That's a
people.
whole
okay.
lot of people. And
But if
and then the question becomes, how does that get fixed? And us just saying it ain't supposed to be doesn't fix it because at the end of the day, we've
True.
got centuries of this word being an issue,
Absolutely.
right.
all the
Hmm.
way from Bible down. The church can't even get that word right.
Oh,
Sorry. I,
No,
I don't mean to offend Christians at all.
Correct. Correct.
and that's a shame. And that's a shame, though. And
That's
that's
okay
a
because
shame.
we're not here to be comfortable. That's okay.
This is true.
That's a
But at
shame.
the end of the day, even the church can't the church can't seem to get uh, their hooks into
right.
what that word is supposed to mean nowadays
Right.
because everything's changed.
Everything is
You
changed.
can't treat a woman like they did in the days of Moses. You can't do that to
Correct.
them right now. And men are trying to. Men are trying to, which is why we have the issue we started with in this conversation. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it is what it is. Women are not what they were before, and
Right.
things have changed. Laws have changed and come into effect, giving women rights that back in the day, like if they were doing and saying the stuff that they are now, they would have got stoned for it back in the
Yes.
day.
Yes.
Correct.
Correct.
So I mean, that word is so broad right now in definition terms, and like my wife will not even. We don't even use that word in the house because
And
she
even
her thing is,
culturally, different cultures see it differently.
yeah,
Exactly.
There are some
Correct.
cultures where she has to walk behind him.
Right.
yeah,
She has to be covered all the way up. I mean, there are other cultures that see that word, very differently as well.
Right.
yeah,
But
yeah. And it's not it and it's like okay, it becomes a well, however you see it is how, which is what
Yes.
religion became. It's like okay, however you see it, that's how you interpret it. Now,
Right.
when you get into a relationship, y'all have that communication
Mhm.
and you have that understanding
Right.
of how each of you wants to be treated inside of that relationship. But when it comes to that word does apply to marriage. And at the end of the day, I
hmm
mean, because if you're and see, that's the problem is these dudes are getting on these podcasts and they're talking about it like you're supposed to be submissive. Like, okay, but you're not even married, dog. Like
Right.
you're
What is
with her,
that?
You've been with her for 2 months. You got with her. Okay, you got with her. You've been with her for a while. You want her to be submissive. You want her to hand over all rights to you. All rights to you. Like you're married. You're not married. So why does she have to do that?
If she did, you still might not marry her.
Yeah, because
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's that. There's that.
There you go.
Exactly. What happened to you? And my name ain't even on the obituary.
Oh,
I can't even come in and view the body.
Ouch.
Can't even come and say my final goodbye.
No benefits.
Can't even get the eulogy.
Can't even come view you.
Lord,
I can't even go. I can't even come to the repast.
You can't get a flower, a piece of chicken, or nothing.
Oh my Lord.
I have no right. I have no right.
Chicken.
Yeah, it's that's a word that everybody's gonna argue with for a minute. I think they're gonna be arguing over that word until Jesus comes back himself.
Yeah,
because it's just
for a lot of people, it's a slippery slope.
I had a problem with it only because I was taught to have a problem. I grew up in a household where we were taught, "Oh, girl, you tell that man what to do. You in control, especially if you make the most money." I grew up in a home like that, so I had a problem with it because my mama had a problem with it. Now, once I got married and I understood more about it, and to Miss J's point, I got tired of being the strong one all the time. Okay, submit. What time we doing that? What time is submission? Because I'm ready.
What time?
What time is submission?
What time is submission service begin?
I'm ready. But then the question becomes, submit to what?
Yeah, I'm gonna get off of this. I'm gonna get off of this podcast and directly go to the Bible, and I am gonna study that word tonight because
let's do it then.
Like it says, like they said in the comments, it says husbands are supposed to submit to their wives as they submit to Christ.
That was me. Thank you.
Now, did you get that from the Bible itself? Is that a quote?
That's a paraphrase.
Yes.
I paraphrase that. It's in the Bible, but I paraphrase.
That's not exactly what it says.
See, for me,
the wife submits to the husband,
I was ordained as a deacon. So like I tried to make sure if we were gonna go scriptural, you gotta give me the scripture.
I paraphrase that, bro. I am not a Bible scholar, sir.
Because because me and my wife, we talk about it, and my wife is quick to be like, "Look, we're supposed to submit to each other. Like it's a situation." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm going to study that scripture tonight. Best believe
we got homework."
Yes, I'm gonna be all over that submit word. Thanks a lot, Fred. Thanks. I wasn't planning on studying tonight.
You only on Trailblazers Radio.
You're welcome.
Only.
I mean, one of the things when we knock these words around all the time, and then we don't abide by them. We've talked about how respect and communication can go a long way in building a relationship. We also talked about how miscommunication and disrespect can go a long way in destroying a relationship.
Absolutely.
So we talked about these things, but when these things are misaligned, or better yet, misused or used for nefarious purposes to either build some or either to
purposes.
Nefarious purposes.
Okay, King Nefarious. What kind was he over in the Bible? That sounds like a biblical. Never right. Never right.
It is not. It is not.
King Nefarious.
I like that. Yeah. He's a wordsmith, honey. This guy here.
Wait a King Nefarious. Whose son is King Nefarious?
It sounded serious. Whatever it was serious.
When we use things for nefarious purposes, or better yet, the purposes to tear someone down, or to make someone feel like they're less than, to make someone feel like they're not worthy or not worth being around or being with. That causes serious damage to somebody. That causes damage to somebody's psyche, because now this person, walks around with that feeling like they're not worth it. This goes both for male and female, because just as much as we are good at building each other, we try to build each other up. It's easy now. This is what I'm gonna say. It's easier to destroy than it is to build.
Ooh.
Wow.
Okay.
Destruction don't take very long.
Say that
Destruction
he
take
put in the
about
back.
destruction is about like it like that, and it's over with.
Mm-hmm.
But to building something requires time, requires resources, it requires effort, but it also requires an element of time.
Mm-hmm.
And time is a finite resource. Because when you lose it, you don't get it back.
We got our homework on the screen.
There you go.
There it is.
There's our homework. There's our homework.
Look up
There's
First
our
Peter
homework.
3:1-7.
Time is a finite resource, y'all. When we lose it, we don't get it back. All the other stuff, the resources, the building materials and the resources, those things are not fine. Those things are finite too, but they're much more easier to come by than losing time. And the most important thing to have in a relationship is the investment of time.
Right, exactly.
If you don't put the time in, what do you think you're gonna get out of it?
Right.
You put in, garbage in, garbage out. Proper time invested in, proper time invested out.
I got a second homework assignment for us.
What's that?
Okay, so you know how we're in this era where everybody has a conference. Woman, thou I lose. Woman, go pick up your hat. Woman, where you at? Woman, sit down in the corner. Woman, you better get yourself together. Woman, tie your head up. Woman, don't lean down. So what if we started having women and men conferences?
Yes.
What if we got together and had some breakout classes where maybe it is just us and the girls and the guys, but what if we came together for the purposes of bettering our connections together?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we Trailblazers Radio, I'm gonna need y'all to come up with a women and men conference. You got 12 months to do it.
Oh boy.
There it is.
And I'm stumbling over my words because that would be like groundbreaking.
We all gonna get together. Community, because, right?
How?
Come on.
Look, when we all get together.
Exactly.
Rejoicing that will be.
Exactly.
We're gonna have some psychiatrists in the room, some therapists. We're gonna have some exercise. We're gonna have some smoothies. We're gonna be healthy together. We're gonna walk out of park together. It's gonna be a men and women's conference.
So you're talking about an in-person conference?
Yes.
Or in person is gonna be better because that way I'm with her, because now we can see how that person feels. We can see their raw emotion from that person, especially when we talk about subjects that are.
What was that word you said? Raw what?
Raw emotion.
You talking about men?
From both sides. We can see the raw emotion from both sides.
Are you trying to tell me that men have emotions?
Yes, ma'am.
Shut the front door and lock it. Just lock it.
Oh Lord.
Yes, ma'am. We have
emotions.
There are several different types of emotions, and we have to be specific because men do anger is an emotion, and men are good at anger. So we do have emotions. Yes, we are not zombies. We do have emotions, but the sensitivity level is what needs to be addressed. It's the sensitivity to these emotions, because men, like I said, there's different emotions. You can have sad, you can have mad, you can have overjoyed. Men are good at the mad one. We do tend that one. We will show without hesitation if need be.
I have no problem with showing the full spectrum, bro. I have no issue with that.
Okay, this sounds like the movie what's it called? Inside Out.
I have no problem. I have no problem with the full spectrum of emotions because that's who because I don't get this. I don't get why dudes want to bury that stuff and think that it's okay to bury that and then it comes out
The
of
reason
anger
why the
or
reason
rage.
why some men bury it, bro, is because it shows them to be less than a man in
Mm.
their head, and they've been told this. Falls under the same criteria as boys don't cry or
Right.
men don't cry. It's the same
Bruh,
concept. If
okay,
you show certain emotions, then it shows a level of weakness to a man. And I'm not saying that that's right. I'm not saying that that is positively what happens. I'm saying that this is what men have been taught. Men
Right.
have
okay,
been taught you show emotion like that, you're weak. So
okay.
we can't have weak men. Women don't want weak men. So
That's
don't you dare cry. Don't you dare show sensitivity. That's where that comes from. That's why
okay.
they that's why they hide that.
I mean,
I
that's a
got
systematic slave mentality.
It
You know
is.
what I mean?
exactly.
And
It is.
that's something that needs to be broken point blank,
So
because
see,
that goes back far beyond our generations. You know,
It
mhm,
does.
it's been going on. And
Mm.
unfortunately, it's untrue and it's
mhm,
unhealthy at the end of the day. That's not healthy for men, nor is it healthy for women.
exactly.
You gotta
And
And
be
she's right. She's
willingly,
right.
you gotta
see,
be able to
She is
willingly
right.
and
Hmm.
genuinely express whatever emotion that you're dealing with.
Yes.
It's just
No matter who you
imperative that
are.
we do that.
And see what she
Yes.
said is pivotal. She said it's not true. How many men, if you get 10 men, 10 grown men, they will agree, you'll get at least 7 out of that 10 that agree with I ain't crying in front of no woman, or they'll agree that it's a weakness. But it's not true. So we have been programmed to
Mm.
believe that as men. Some men, just for the sake of you, Fred, I'm going to say some men have been programmed to believe that that's a truth when it's not. It's not a truth.
look,
Women like us. There are plenty of women that love sensitive men,
Yep.
but we're not, as men, we're not taught that. We're not taught that. We're taught,
look,
and what sucks about it is a lot of us were taught by fathers that that's not what we do. You
mhm,
know,
Down to
you don't have women saying, "Be a man, stop that crying." They might
right.
want you to stop crying because you're annoying them with all that noise, but they didn't say you weren't going to be a man if you cried. Men will teach their sons that.
But I heard that in my house. My mother
Yeah,
did.
mhm.
see,
My mother did
See,
say that to my dad.
she
see,
did.
Yes.
yeah,
See,
I
it's
remember
taught.
that.
It's a
Somebody
taught mentality.
and it hurt me. It hurt me to hear that because my stepfather dad was very he can watch a commercial and something touch him and his little shoulders get to hunching and she like shut up all that crap. And I hated it. Like leave him alone.
see.
I
My thing is,
posted something today. I was at work. I watched something, a video of really good acts were going around, and I posted it. And I'm at work watching this. I'm on break,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm tearing up and I'm crying as I'm watching this. And I'm like, and the thought came to mind, man, if dudes saw me crying right now,
See?
I'm at work. But that was their back thought. I did end up being like, okay, well, I don't really care because this is really good. This is sensitive and I love it. But
Mm-hmm.
that was a secondary thought in my head. You know what I mean? So it's like, dude, we're taught this stuff. Men are taught, not all men, but men are taught in general, taught this stuff. So
Right.
we're not supposed to be the criers. We're not supposed to be the ones that break down. You know, if something hurts us, we're not supposed to cry and be distraught about it. We're not supposed to show that we're hurt
But if we're
because
gonna
men
bridge
don't.
that gap, maybe the emotional connection is the bridge.
yep,
That
Yep.
might be. That might
Maybe
be.
maybe that is the bridge. Maybe I need to know that my emotions are safe with you, and I want to tell you that yours are safe with me.
mhm,
That you're
On
mhm.
the
okay
other
with me.
spectrum, though, on the other spectrum to that, there are those that are just so hard, and life has hardened them so hard that they don't know how to show emotion.
Okay.
They
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 cry.
don't know how. They don't know
They're
that they
conditioned to not doing it.
right. like their
It's
environment has
women like that.
hardened them.
It's some
You gonna learn
females
today.
like that.
There
You
are.
gonna learn today.
It's some
You gonna
females
learn
who don't
today.
cry. Who are they not about to cry? Don't hug me, don't touch me. Just gone somewhere. I'm good.
See,
It's some females like that. I'm not like
Yeah.
that. I'm always crying. Lord,
one of the things, one of the things my therapist told me, and I didn't understand this until maybe like a couple of years ago. She said, in case of fire, break the glass and pull the alarm. I never understood what that meant until maybe like a year or two ago. Now I know what that means.
Now, what does that mean?
I really understand what that means. If I'm overwhelmed by all these emotions, just go ahead and break the glass and pull the alarm and allow
And
those
it's
emotions
okay.
to flow.
And it's all right. Stop,
Yep,
drop, and roll. It's okay.
Exactly. Allow it to happen. Allow it to happen. Because it's gonna happen eventually. You know, whether and it's gonna happen, it'll happen eventually, but it'll happen in a negative way with
Because
rage
a
and
man
anger.
with pent up emotions, or anybody with pent up emotions, can be a ticking time bomb.
Very much so.
Yeah.
It's off right here. It's just we
Have
gotta
y'all
be able to
seen?
process it. And if it's a crying moment,
Have you
And when
have y'all ever watched a movie or a TV show where a little boy is sitting off in the cut somewhere and they're upset and they're crying? Somebody walks up behind them and they hear it, so they're quickly trying to wipe their eyes and everything and compose themselves and just like, what's wrong? Nothing, I'm fine, I'm fine. Because that's the conditioning right there. That's what we do. And we grow up as men doing that. We grow up as men like that.
I mean,
So
but that goes both ways, unfortunately. And that's a whole other conversation, because men and women as children, we are conditioned to believe the lies that are told to us, but they're not true.
yeah.
You know, not true. And we don't realize that sometimes until we're in our adult stages of life. You know, because we are now conditioned to, feel as if everything that we were taught as children is how we're supposed to live. So it's even more difficult or somewhat of a challenge as an adult now to basically reprogram and regroup your entire mindset from everything you knew. It's like being adopted and not finding out you're adopted until you're grown. You're now looking at your life as if everything is a lie. So now you got to regroup from that. It's the same thing with dealing with men and women. That's why we come with so much baggage in other relationships, because we are still dealing with past issues that we have not addressed.
That's right.
And until we address them, and I mean fully address them, we won't be able to move forward in our own lives.
Now, again, that's not to say that you're not going to have triggers.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So we got to think about that. Even if you put yourself in a position where now you are, somewhat healed individually, you still gonna have triggers.
Right.
You know what I mean? You may get into a relationship and that person may, show some sort of signs or signals that may remind you of someone else that you dealt with, or may remind you of a negative connotation from your past.
Right.
The healed you has to now come to a place where you're like, okay, you know what? Let's talk about this. Let's work this out. Because in any relationship, like we've stated earlier, it requires work.
Yes.
It's not just you coming together and everything's going to be peaches and cream. It's not like that. There's going to be some days where it's going to be nasty and dirty, and somebody got to clean it up. So the two of you have to do it together. That's communication is communication is so important in relationships. You have to be able to talk to your mate.
Right.
Man. And if you can't talk to your mate about what's going on, then who can you talk to?
Back to that communication.
Who can I run to?
I mean,
talk to him vertically and not horizontally.
Exactly.
Tell it.
Exactly.
Let's
tell it. I mean, if I'm not safe emotionally safe with my mate, then who else? Then who could I be safe with?
Who can I run to?
Mm-hmm. But if that
Uh,
mate has not felt emotionally safe and doesn't know
Then
how to create an atmosphere for that level of safety,
Right.
then they may not even understand what they're doing.
Right.
right.
That's true. That's true
They
too.
don't even know what I mean. Like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? I mean,
Yep.
that was
It's
my mom.
Then,
almost
then,
like
That's
it's
my mom.
almost like you
Leave them
can't.
alone.
It's almost like you can't fault somebody for something they don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like and this is totally off subject a little bit, but you have fathers out here, some fathers that don't know how to be fathers. I can't expect you to do something or be have a different reaction to your children if you've never experienced that.
Mhm.
So I can't ask you to be this type of father when you don't even know what that looks like.
Wow.
So I can't necessarily, like I said, you can't blame people for what they don't know. Now, the thing of it is, when you are made aware and you're now cognizant of the knowing person,
Mhm.
That's it.
then that's on
That's
you.
it.
That's on
That's it.
you.
Yep.
You can't sit back and say, "Oh well, I ain't know
Yeah,
this."
you did.
Now,
Yeah, you
no,
did.
no. Now it has been brought to your attention. It has been brought to your forefront. Yeah, you need to act on it now. You know what
And
I'm
will you
saying?
accept it? Now that I told you how this makes me feel, and now that I've told you how I noticed that you have a problem with showing emotion or something. I mean, can we talk about that? I'm all right. I'm good. I'm good. I
See,
mean,
I know.
that's that
What you talking
standoffishness.
about? What you talking
right.
about?
I'm fine. Ain't nothing wrong with me. I mean, you got to be willing to say, you know what? Mm, I may not want to talk about it tonight, but I mean, maybe in the morning. Sometimes it just needs.
Pride. Pride.
Look,
Pride.
that starts with a P. Yep.
All
So
right.
just to kind of bring everything full circle, because we about to close this thing down. I mean, things are easy. Think relationships are not difficult, but they're not easy either.
Mm,
They were they require an investment of your time. One of the most important resources. Other resources can come into play later, but the most important one is time. The time to get to know that person, the time to get to understand who this person is, from a mental and an emotional standpoint, also from an intellectual standpoint.
mhm.
If we're gonna bridge this gap, we have to understand though that one thing, but we also have to understand that there's respect and there's honor involved in that process as well. If we're going to bridge a gap, we have to learn to respect each other. We have to learn to honor each other. We have to learn to be able to coexist in the same room with each other without it being a knockdown, drag out battle of wills or a battle of wits or I'm better than you type
Mm,
situation.
okay.
Because when it turns into that type of situation, then nobody wins.
Right.
There's no winners in that, only losers. And I look at this big old gap between us as black men and black women as scorched earth, because because both us black men and black women, we've been carpet bombing each other the whole time, and
Right.
not caring about the damage that's been dealt, because now that trickles down to our children. It's
Mm,
going to trickle down to our children's children, and these are going to be the same dispositions and mindsets and attitudes that are going to power the next generation, and then that generation is not going to be no better than the next one following.
mm. Right.
Amen.
So
Yeah.
so first of all, I'm gonna say this as a black man that represents black men. I don't speak for all black men, but I speak for me. I'm throwing up the white flag, because all this war stuff, I'm tired. I'm tired.
Mm.
Tired of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm tired because This war of words, this war of words, this war of all this is senseless and it's ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
There's there's a big old land that's got there's a whole bunch of scorched earth that could be healed. Only if we decide, only if we choose to walk and come to the middle and meet and actually have a conversation, having a meaningful
Wow.
conversation.
Make
Can't
it a
stress that
better
enough.
place.
Can't
Come
stress
on, you feel like singing tonight, girl.
Yes.
that enough. I can't stress that enough. I can't stress it enough. I want to thank Miss J. I want to
Yeah.
thank Simone. I want to thank T Wade. I want to thank Latanya. But thank my sis LSG for coming on board tonight and having this conversation.
I get the song off my chest when he's done.
It's a needed conversation, man. It's a needed
Definitely need
conversation.
it.
And we
Definitely.
got to have more of these types of conversations because if we don't, we gonna keep doing this carpet bombing, and it's not cool. As a man, I see this and I am sick of it. I'm tired. I'm tired of seeing us blow each other down and
Me
put each
too.
other in places in situations that we don't need to be in. We don't necessarily need to be in. Well, we should. I take that back. Not necessarily. We don't need to be in. I feel like I say this and I say this and then we'll leave out here. We are of course we're strong by ourselves, but we're stronger. Don't you think that we're stronger? We can be stronger together.
I believe that. Yes.
Yep.
We got to because the things that we're as a culture, as a race that come to us, we get beat down with a lot of stuff.
Ooh, we.
Yeah.
We get beat down with so much. So much indiscriminate things that I could possibly say that will probably take up the rest of the evening, but I won't say that. But we get beat down with so much and we deal with so much and we take in so much. And people think that it's okay that we're okay with the consistent beat down. And then we pull this stuff from other from popular culture and then we add it to our own culture. Then we think doing that is okay. And we do that at the behest and expense of each other. I say no more.
No more.
I say no more. No more of that.
No more.
Look, get yourself right, get yourself healed. and I got the perfect song for us to decide to get us up out of here. And
Uh-oh.
I got the perfect song to get us up out of here too. And LSU, you know which one I'm about to throw on here.
Uh-oh.
I got the perfect one
Man.
to get us up out of here too.
I had a song too.
Look,
Girl, you've been singing all night.
I need
That is true.
y'all,
That
brothers
is
and
true.
sisters. I need y'all to get yourselves in therapy.
Therapy, baby.
Therapy and God.
Yeah.
Extra large size.
Piggy size it.
Extra, not biggie size for me. Extra large size for me.
Listen.
Because look,
I'm telling you.
again, I want to thank everybody who tuned in tonight. LSG, Miss J, T Wade, Simone. I thank y'all so much, man. Y'all,
Y'all
this
homework. I
conversation.
ain't playing with y'all.
Yeah, oh yeah, we got homework. So let's get that homework did and look.
Somebody put the scripture on the screen again. What was it? 1 Peter 1:3.
Let me find it. And get ready for the peanut butter and jelly men and women's conference.
Oh my God.
Exactly. If you guys missed this morning, y'all missed a beaut of a show this morning. Man, I watched the replays and oh my God, the replay and oh my goodness, LSG, look, home run, kid, home run.
Thank you, sir.
Home
Our
run.
hour is growing. I'm grateful.
Exactly. And also look, and I'm not gonna go without giving my props to Miss J with shaking up the algorithms, man.
Yes.
They be doing it over there, man. Like the conversation we had last night, boy, good gosh.
Yeah.
We need to have more conversations like that too.
Yeah.
That's how we
We
bridge
really
the gap. Conversation.
Exactly. That's how we bridge gaps. We need to have the difficult conversations. And I want to most definitely give my props to Miss J and her team over at Shaking Up the Algorithms. They are doing a magnificent job over there. And I want to tell you, keep on keeping on bringing up the difficult conversations and keep on doing what you do.
Thank you so much.
Miss Good. And are you having a girl chat weekly tomorrow?
We are starting our book club. Where my book at? Lord, I got a book around here somewhere. But we are starting our book tomorrow. The book is called Killing Comparison by Nona Jones. So our book club starts tomorrow at 7 on the Girl Chat Weekly page. So we're kicking off our book club tomorrow. We'll be doing that every Tuesday until we finish our book.
Mr. Wade, you and Kai doing something on Wednesday?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What Wednesday is it? What Wednesday is this? What Wednesday in the month is this?
This should be the last Wednesday.
Last Wednesday. Let's be last Wednesday.
So that would be the 4th Wednesday or 5th? 4th?
This will be Wednesday 4th.
4th Wednesday. 4th? So
yeah,
so it's the last Wednesday of the month.
It's sofa chats. So
cool.
Both of us will be on 8 o'clock on Wednesday. 8 o'clock Wednesday, and we're gonna have guests, and I would love to have you all join in if you want to, because we have similar chats in sofa chat. And the thing is, we go for broke. Like we'll talk about 20 different topics. We go for broke though. We keep it 100. Like everything connects, and we bring it all to the forefront when we do it. It's just like this one here. It normally runs like this. So if you can show up on Wednesday at 8, that would be awesome.
All right.
And I think I'm gonna do something on Friday. I have no idea what the top is gonna be, but I think it's gonna, you know what? I take that back. I already thought about this a week prior. So the top is good. It's called if you guys have been listening and been watching, I've done a couple of shows called Conversations with Myself.
Yes.
This is part 3. And the title of this one is called Break Me Down. And gonna talk about how certain things of life situations have broken me down, but have built me back up. And there's gonna be I have a special surprise for y'all, And I want to say that I was excited that is what I talked to this person that they said, and I talked to them, and they gave me permission to use one of their videos. So I'm excited about that. And now I'm excited. I'm so excited about that, because when I emailed him, we chatted for a minute, and he said, "Yeah, man, go for it." Oh man, let's do that. So,
and that's on Friday, Fred?
Yep, it is. But on behalf of myself, Miss J, LHG, Tony Wade, and Simone Austin, we thank you guys for tuning in to the check-in part 5, Bridging the Gap with our sisters. We love y'all. And as I always like to say when I do these podcasts, man, number 1, love on each other. Number 2, take care of each other. Number 3, it's a crazy world out here. So above all, y'all, please be safe out here, man. And we're going to take y'all home with Mookstar Dash. And the song is called Therapy. Y'all, man. Make sure y'all tap in with Mookstar Dash. Make sure y'all tap in with LHG, Critical Conversations, Girl Chat Weekly Power Hour. Make sure you tap in with Miss J on Shaking Up the Algorithms. Make sure you tap in with Miss Simone Austin, and make sure you tap in with my brother T Wade and his beautiful wife Kaixa Rodriguez. Man, we love y'all. We love y'all. We love y'all. We love y'all. And we are up out of this mug. Peace.
Peace.
Up.
Look at me now, I made it through. I overcame what they hated. I'ma give myself congratulations, because I made it. I'm on a whole new dimension. These miracles on top of blessings. Tell your followers to mention. Therapy, let me breathe. I'ma count 1, 2, 3. I'm not gonna lose all sleep. I'ma though you never get through. People change, seasons change, the levels raining all on you. It gets better from here. It gets better from here. Favor looking good on me. No pressure, it's time to seek. Therapy. Oh, it's okay to have therapy. Therapy. Let me breathe. One, two, three. I'm not gonna lose no sleep. Vibration. Not losing my patience. Because I got my peace. Can't nobody take from me. Therapy.
Trailblazers Radio has merch. Check out our website, www.trailblazersradio.com/shop to check out our store. You'll find an assortment of hoodies and t-shirts in various colors and sizes, as well as coffee mugs in various colors. Again, check out our website at www.trailblazersradio.com/shop to check out our merch.